because what we're doing today, the language of success, we're going to learn a lot of great things, okay? They've all been people who can create magic just through language. So the creators of NLP, right? These are the founding the founders, the founding fathers is what we call them, Richard Bandler and John Grinder. So when you look at Richard Bandler, he is the creator, the creator of Design Human Engineering, DHE, Neurohypnotic Repatterning, and the co-author of Persuasion Engineering. So these are some of the books that you guys can look up when you want to research these guys. And then you look at John Grinder. He's the co-originator of NLP and one of the greatest thinkers in our lifetime. So he's authored 14 books on complex subjects ranging from transformational grammar to family therapy and his creation of NLP. And when you look at this even more closely, let's break down the definition before we get started in learning some patterns that are going to help you close more people as you're looking to find more coaches to join the company, or as you're looking to find more people who want to just be coachees within the company. So Neuro starts off with the nervous system and the mind through which our experience is processed via 5 senses. So everything that we're learning is involving all the senses in our body, right? Your visual, your auditory, your kinesthetic, your olfactory, how things smell, gustatory, right? How does it taste? Okay, no, this isn't a wine cooler. This is some pineapple seltzer from Whole Foods, and it's pretty good actually. 0 calories. So now that involves everything. Your senses connect with everything around you. That's how we interpret things. That's how we understand things. I mean, have you ever been, or has there ever been a time where you were walking down the street and you noticed that that you started smelling something that smelled like something you smelled when it was your childhood, right? I mean, go ahead. You can unmute yourself, guys. Go ahead. I don't want to be the one that's the only one talking. Trust me, that's not how I operate. So has anybody ever been in a situation like that? Go ahead.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, all the time.
Absolutely, right, Francisca, Angelica. I love it. I got to get the interaction. I got to even hear Gabriella. I see her hiding over there with that logo. Come on, Gabriella. I got to see something, a little bit of the red hair, or flash it a little bit and then turn the camera back off. Whatever you're going to do. But you go, there you go, there you go. So sometimes you go by a location, you go by an area and you smell something, and almost magically you connect with the experience that you had back when you smelled that food, right? So now imagine if you can do that deliberately, because you know that people are, and here's the correct term, anchored to the smell, the vision, what they hear, right? Everything, all the senses. If you can create that intentionally in a sales situation, in a relationship situation, in a communication situation with another person, how much more effective do you think you would be? Right?
Like night and day.
Very.
Yeah, night and day, right? That's why, you know, if you've ever been to an open house that a realtor puts on, sometimes we turn on some candles that smell like cookies, right? You know, you go in there and you're like, oh, it smells so good. I smell those cookies just like when I was growing up, my grandmother's cookies, right? So it's involving all the senses. But guys, this is done intentionally. And here's the cool thing. The more you understand this and the more you appreciate this, the more in tune you will be, and the more you're going to catch what's around you in everything, whether it's in the media, in marketing, in advertisements. You're going to see and connect with everything. So it makes you that much more aware. So then that's that part when it comes to our experiences on the neuro side, right? Now we look at linguistics. So linguistics is the language and other non-verbal communication systems through which our neural representations are coded, ordered, or given meaning. So what does this include, right? It includes pictures. It includes sounds, feelings, tastes, smells, words, self-talk. What is it that we're telling ourselves, right? So that's also part of the linguistic side of things. I'll give you an even greater example. You know, when Gabriela, she jumps on the camera and she starts speaking, right? She always has incredible paintings behind her. Okay. Now, I know she's on, but, and I know she's a master in sales. Do you think that a world renowned artist would have their picture behind them while they're announcing and connecting with hundreds of thousands of people? Do you think that would be an accident, or do you think that would be intentional?
Intentional.
Intentional, yeah. Because she understands that neurologically, when we see this beautiful artwork, who's associated with it? She is. So in everything that we do, whether we say something or we don't say something, we're always in communication. We're always in communication. So if you can now focus on being deliberate and intentional in your communication, that's where the mastery comes in. That's where creating magic in your life comes in, where you can choose it and be intentional. Any questions before I move on? What do you guys think so far?
Excellent. Really applicable.
Absolutely. Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you, Franny, for that. I love it. Thank you, Gabby. Thank you, Gabrielle. Anyone else?
This is new to me, so.
Okay, good, Harry.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah, yeah. And here's the thing, Harry. These techniques are being used every single day on every single one of us, and we're not even aware of it. But now, because of today's intro, you're going to be that much more aware of it, and you'll think twice before making a decision on anything else. So now let's look at the next thing here, right? We look at the last thing here. Go ahead, Mario.
Yeah, when people are going in through a house, you have them do some self-talk and have them point out to you all the things they like about the house, and they sell themselves.
And they sell themselves, right?
Yeah.
So now the last part here, thank you for that. That's a great point. The last part here is the programming, which is the ability to discover and utilize the programs that we run in our communication to ourselves and others. And specific, this is in our neurological systems to achieve our specific and desired outcomes. So in other words, NLP is how to use the language of the mind to consistently achieve our specific and desired outcomes. And when you look at the world of NLP as a whole, it's several different models of success that are put together so that you can apply those strategies, apply those models, and you produce success as well in your life. So let's take a look at this even more closely, right? Here's a principle that we call the prime directive of the unconscious mind. Because when you're working with neuro-linguistic programming, you're connecting with the unconscious mind. Your unconscious mind is always receiving information. And when we look at this, all learning behavior change is unconscious. So as you're watching this arrow, okay, and you're watching everything, the lighting that's happening in the background, that is taking the attention of your conscious mind, and it's actually distracting you, okay? So now that the arrow's distracting you, your unconscious mind is now open to suggestions. And that's how hypnosis works. So think about it. This is why oftentimes when you see situations in sales or in marketing, you have all different types of things happening at one time, so that this way our minds oftentimes get distracted and we're not connected with what's going on. But by using this intentionally, it helps you to understand the psychology of the other person and how you can connect with them. So if this is how learning behavior starts and changes in the unconscious level, let's look at how the unconscious mind starts to connect with one another. Everything starts off with rapport. So rapport is the ability to establish rapport with any single person that you connect with at any moment in time. Has there ever been a time where you realize that you just can't relate to some people? Who's ever been in that situation?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Harry, Alma, David. David, tell me, David, David, you look so excited today, man. I just got to get some of that energy from you, brother. I mean, those glasses, everything. Tell me, David, where have you faced that?
That's my librarian look.
Ah, the librarian look.
What was
Awesome.
the question?
So the question is, has there ever been a time where you notice that you can't connect with every single person you connect with, you talk to, right? There's some people that you vibe with.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. And what's the first thing that you notice when you can't connect with them? What is it that comes up for you?
You want to get away as soon as possible. You actually
Wow.
repel from them. You don't
actually
feel their energy and you actually repel.
Has anybody else in this group ever felt that way? Why don't you guys put it in the chat that you felt that way, that you just get around somebody and you just want to run the other direction? Anybody? Right? And it's not because, you know, they were cooking with some heavy duty spices, but it's because something is going on, right? Franny, I know you want to say something. You're looking at me, you're smiling, you're laughing.
There's people that you know right away. Get away.
Right? Get away.
I agree with David. I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. And part of that is, here's the thing. What if we're that person, right? If we're that person and we're wondering, how come we're not achieving the success that we want to really achieve? I feel like I'm a nice guy, but if I don't understand how rapport works, then I could actually be repelling people rather than attracting people. So which one are you doing, right? Because when you look at, there's people that attract people all the time to themselves. And you look at them and you're like, why are they so lucky? They don't look all that great. You know, I mean, I got my hair done today. Look at her hair. You know, I mean, come on. What is going on? I get better makeup, or I do this, or I do that. I mean, we're over here, we're judging and we're comparing. But the one thing we don't realize is that there's something that they've mastered that other people aren't aware of. And that's the ability to connect and build rapport quickly. And you do that by learning how to read people fast, right? You look at the color of the clothes they're wearing. You look at their rate of speech. You look at the words that they use, the tonality, the physiology. And that's
the way they walk.
The way they walk. There we go, Harry. Come on, Harry. Bring it, Harry. I love it when Harry talks, man. I feel like I'm in church. Come on, Harry. Bring it. So now, when you see these things, you can read somebody. And I know, Master, you do the security from what I've seen, right? You teach a lot of security. I'm sure that you can be able to spot someone or something like that, right? Because you're trained. So when we're trained to build rapport with anybody and everybody, that means the opportunities for us to succeed increase exponentially.
For example, it's not the same when you put your hands like this that when you put your hands like this. It's not the same.
Right. Something so little and so slight can make the difference. Okay. Mm-hmm. So this is how this works in terms of NLP, is getting that opportunity to connect. So now, one thing to put out there, guys, is when you're building rapport with somebody, a couple of tips here. Rapport is established by mimic, mirroring, and matching, right? So if a person moves forward, then you move forward with them, but only a few seconds later after that. And we'll get into more rapport building techniques in the classes, but I want to give you an idea to start paying attention to your rate of speech. If I'm speaking very, 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 very fast, and most of you in the group are speaking slower than I am, then what happens is you think that I'm a fast talking salesperson from New York City if I'm talking very, 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 very fast and your rate of speech is slower. Now, if your rate of speech is faster and you're a New Yorker, New Jersey, someone in the Northeast, and then I start talking to you like, hey, Mario, how's it going? Hey, David. It's like I just had a gummy, right? I just had an edible. So that's not what's happening here. If you're starting to mismatch,
I'm very happy.
You're very happy, right? Yeah, there you go. I love it. So your facial expression and your communication don't even match. So physiology makes all the difference, right? So that's how you build rapport. And here's the one way that I'll tell you what rapport is like, guys. Picture a wave, right? Let me see if I could do this very quickly and easily. And this is the insight, guys, into what's going on in the world today. Okay, here's the insight. I'm going to share a little secret with you. Let's say this is you right here, and this is your wavelength, meaning the energy that you give off,
Vibration.
your vibration, right? We'll call it vibration. And let's say over here, this is a client, right? That you want to bring on board. You want to connect with them, but their vibration is, and you look at your vibration, how is the rapport going to be? Is it going to be matching, or is it going the opposite, right? So you're going to repel each other. Okay. Now, let's say you have another client, this is client number 2. And client number 2 is actually a little bit more along your wavelength, right? A little bit more. So now this person and you guys are going to be in greater rapport. So ask yourself right now, remember, what do we say? What's the definition of insanity? When you do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So right now, if you look at your business, you look at your life, you look at your relationships, you look at everything, and you ask yourself, holy cow, why am I always attracting the same relationships? Why am I always attracting the same type of clients? I want this type of business. I want big money business, right? We all want the big money. Well, guess what? Are you vibrating? Well, maybe I shouldn't say it that way. There's a lot of women in here. But anyway, is your vibration the right vibration when it comes to connecting with people? If you start matching that vibration there, then boom, that's where you're going to have your breakthrough. Does that make sense? Any questions? Making sense? Perfect. So tonality makes a difference. High tone, low tone, the timbre, the volume, how low you speak, how high you speak, everything. The words that you use, your predicates, keywords, is only 7% of communication. Right? So only 7% of communication. And we talked about this a few weeks back. I think Master Camareno was talking about this. 7% of communication is words. And the rest is tonality, voice, tempo, your speed and quality. So here's the pattern that I'm going to leave you guys with. Did I do a good job, guys, of explaining NLP? Usually I don't take 30 minutes to explain NLP and all this other stuff because it's a very complex topic. Here's what I can tell you. Neuro-linguistic programming, if you believe in quantum physics, it goes hand in hand. The moment you become a master in NLP, you could do things like even change your own metabolism, just so you guys know, okay? But I won't go into it any further, but it's so powerful because your words really do control where your mindset goes. Everything, physiology, everything. It does. It's just amazing how powerful it is. So jumping back to the topic here, this is a pattern that any one of us here can practice and use. And I cover a lot of these patterns in the language of success and some of the other courses. So the unconscious mind doesn't receive negatives. So that's why when you say to yourself, I don't want to be broke, I don't want to lose this, I don't want to, miss payments on my credit cards, what do you think you're telling your unconscious mind to do? What you're saying is, I want to miss my payments, I want to be broke, I want to be this, and I want to be that. I don't want to get fat. Oh, your unconscious mind is, oh, great. So you want to get fat. I'll do everything and anything I can to help you get fat because that's what you say that you want. So our unconscious mind doesn't take in any negatives. It filters out the negatives. So when you're speaking with somebody, now that you know that tidbit of information, this is why we say, focus on what you want, not what you don't want. What do you want? I want to succeed. I want to be a multi-million-dollar earner within Coach Talk Cafe. I want to be a part of the global pool. I want to be an incredible coach. I want to be a champion. Then focus on that, and your unconscious mind will show you how to get there automatically. Trust me, if you don't believe me, next week, in a couple of weeks, I'm teaching new thinking, new results, and you will learn how to do that. I will teach you how to do that. So this pattern here, since we understand that the unconscious mind doesn't take in negatives, here's the pattern. Don't, and then the action, right? So don't, the action. So don't, the action, unless you want to, whatever outcome that you're looking for. So here's an example. Don't work with me, right? Hey, listen, don't work with me unless you want great service. So what I'm really saying, this is what the unconscious mind of the other person is hearing is, work with me because you want great service. Here's another example. Don't set an appointment with me unless you want this handled professionally. So what the unconscious mind is hearing is, well, listen, set an appointment and I'll get to handle this professionally. And this is what we call the takeaway close. Hey, listen, you do what you're going to do, man. You know exactly how to make the right decisions. Don't complete this curriculum or sign up for my class today unless you're really committed to being successful as a communicator and influencer of life and in coaching. Does that make sense? So notice that by rate of speech, tonality, knowing which words to put emphasis on, you become masterful in your communication. And that's what people want. This is what helps you to communicate as a leader. Look at number 4. Don't register for breakthrough coaching unless you want to let go of all limiting beliefs. Don't lower the price unless you would like this to actually sell. So why don't we do this? Take 1 minute and I want you guys to write one of these statements. And then let's put it out there for us to listen. And you can make this in relation to your business, your relationships, whatever it is you want. Like, hey guys, don't take me out to dinner when I see you the next time around, unless you want to really have a great time with me. So when you have your sentence or your statement ready, share it with the group. Let's interact.
Don't take my class unless you want to reach higher states of your unconsciousness.
I love it. Perfect. Look at you, man, on your way to becoming an NLP master. Come on, Mario. Así mismo, muchacho. Come on, baby. I love it. I love it. Who's next?
That's me, Robert. Did you read it?
Okay. Don't sign up for CTC unless you want to transform your life and be a millionaire. Love it.
Did I do that right?
You did it. You did it incredibly. You did it great. You did fantastic. All right. And then I have Diana Myers here says, don't work with me unless you are committed to being successful. I love it. I got a few more other here coming in. Don't join CTC unless you really want to help the masses and create global abundance. And that's from Catherine. Great job, Catherine. Alma, don't work out with me unless you want to get fit. Oh, all right. You got Kenyon. Don't listen to me unless you want to learn something. And then David says, attention goes where the mindset flows. Perfect. I love it. You know, so all of these, notice as you're listening to them, right? You're automatically programming your own mind. And that's how language works. It's magical, guys. You guys can create anything you want in your life through simple language and communication and language patterns if you know how to use them. And that's how you have the kid who was homeless for a couple of years with his mom, who moved out of his house at 14 and put himself through college, became the CEO of a Keller Williams in Fort Lauderdale. If you see before, I was listing homes where every single week I took one listing, right, and put a house on the market every week in my second year in real estate. And then in my third year real estate, I was putting 2 to 3 homes on the market. Okay, 2 to 3 houses on the market every single week. So I was listing 100 homes per year. And the average sales price in Queens, New York at that time was $350,000. Okay. And then once I built the team, we were doing 220 transactions per year. So honestly, all that happened because of neuro-linguistic programming. And I didn't realize that every time I sat down in a listing appointment, I was actually putting people into a trance, and they were signing the contract. And as they signed the contract, when I came back the next day and they saw the sign in their front yard, they were like, dude, what happened? I signed a contract yesterday. I put my house on the market. Yeah, you don't remember? We were here for an hour talking, having a great time. That's when you're in great rapport with people. When they're automatically sold on something, you didn't even realize that they were actually moving forward with the sale and the purchase. And that's the goal, is for us to be masterful. That's it, to be masterful. So as we close out, I want to be able to hear some feedback from you guys, any questions. And I've talked with Gabriella and with Franny, and I want to do something really special for you guys. But before I get into what I want to do that's special for you, I want to get some feedback from you. So this way I know that I've answered your questions and I've given you value. Okay. So what questions do you have? What feedback do you have for me? Anyone? I can see it on your faces, guys. So let's not be shy. Trust me, I can read everything. I read everything, guys. I read tonality. I read everything. Go ahead. Go ahead, Franny.
I love how you be able to share really what your life came from, because it's really what makes you and made you such a relatable person for me. And I want everybody to know that Rob was one of my coaches in one of the programs that I did in New York. And I had so much value with how he coached me through different things in life. So yeah, I mean, I really feel that your story, really where you came from, really is what made me feel like, wow, I can trust this guy. And your language here, guys, really, it's not about, it's people making these decisions because it's something that's inside of them. It's connecting to their heart. And I've never met a man who's more heart-centered than this man. You know, he's a big teddy bear for me.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? What did you learn? What questions do you have? What do you need from me? Tell me.
I'll say something, Robert. It's Gabby.
Go for it, Gabby.
I really appreciate, of course, you know, I'm NLP certified myself as well, but everybody has their own way of delivering the message. And so today, the way that you delivered it really resonated with me because it was very simple to understand. And I just want to encourage, I know, you know, I helped you to put together a course for this, and I really want to encourage everyone to learn this, because I hear a lot of people here in Coach Talk Cafe saying, I've been inviting people, but they don't sign up, or I've been inviting people and they don't show up. What's wrong? What am I doing wrong? Well, it isn't the opportunity, because a lot of us are signing people up. So it's about the language that you're using. It's about the way that you're using, you know, the phraseology. So I would encourage everyone to learn more about this, not only for Coach Talk Cafe, but pretty much for everything in their life, for relationships, for, you know, Alma, for you and your business where you work as a supervisor in management. You know, it can help you with so many things in life. So they say that 80% of the success that you're going to have in life is how well you communicate with others. So I just want to thank you for this, Robert. I appreciate it.
Definitely. Thank you. Thank you as well for leading the way. Much appreciated. One more person, one more question. Go ahead, Master.
I have two questions. The first one is, what is the fine line between control of the situation and manipulation? That's the first question.
That's a great question. What's the second question?
The second one is, what would be the challenge when knowing LLP, you are being approached by another person that are using NLP techniques?
Okay, great. So I'll answer the first question, right? And Olga and I, we teach NLP for psychologists, right? And in teaching NLP for psychologists, that one thing is the one thing that we address, which is what's the fine line between NLP and manipulation, right? And here's the best way that I can say this, right? NLP in the language format is just a small part of NLP. So that's the first part. The other part is it's very much so like the goal is not to manipulate. The goal and the intention is to ask questions that will cause and help people to think through so that they can come to their own conclusions, if that makes any sense, right? So, Master, you are a 7-time world champion in martial arts, right? And I've seen techniques in martial arts where somebody's energy is used against them. Have you ever, do you know what I'm talking about? So it's like, I guess if I throw a punch, you're able to take the energy that I have and bring it right back to me, right?
Yes.
NLP is the linguistic.
Yes, we can be very. Yes,
right. We may not even get touched.
Very, yeah.
So
we can be very little, but it's just because we are very weak.
Right. And what NLP is, it gives you the linguistic ability to use any kind of energy that comes towards you that is negative and be able to spin it, because now you understand how to communicate so that the other person takes on that energy. So that's the advantage.
Or even with yourself, with your inner conversation, right?
Or even with yourself. And here's what I've noticed. The clients that I've had for over 10 years that have taken my courses in NLP like this, like the language of influence, language of success, the more they write statements, the more they practice this, the better programmed they are in their own mind towards success. So all these statements that you write, and I'll have homework for you guys, all that good stuff, it helps you to get out of whatever funk that you may even be in, because you're reprogramming your own mind. And that's what it is. It's muscle memory, but you have muscle memory here versus the muscle memory here. You're working this muscle, and that's the most powerful muscle you could ever have. So